5 men cornered a billionaire in the middle of a hotel lobby, no guards. No help, no way out, and just when everyone thought it was over, the Medea's gut. The maid stepped in. What she did next made every single person in that hotel stop breathing. It began on an ordinary morning. Under a ceiling of crystal light and quiet money, the golden horizon, hotel pulsed with the rhythm of power heels clicking on marble, laughter dripping with arrogance, perfumes mixing with polished silver and freshly brewed coffee. But at precisely 9:03 a.m., silence fell. 5 men in tailored black suits surrounded a single man near the center of the lobby. They moved with calm precision like shadows, with purpose. Guests stopped mid-conversation. The billionaire, Mr. Arlen, didn't move. He simply stared at the men, knowing exactly who they were and what they wanted. Every eye watched, yet every heart turned away. The concierge looked down. The security guard adjusted his tie and walked out of sight. A group of businessmen whispered, but none stepped forward, and then there was her, Maria, the hotel maid, quietly stacking glasses near the buffet. Her name tag was slightly bent, her sleeves rolled too many times. To most guests, she was invisible, a blur of motion, a background detail in their perfect lives, but her eyes caught everything. When one of the men grabbed Mr. Arlen by the shoulder, she saw his hand tremble not with fear, but restraint. The kind of control only someone used to danger possessed. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Maria Alvarez had spent the last 8 years serving guests who never learned her name. Before that, she had served her country. Few knew the truth. That beneath her quiet smile and soft tone lived the muscle memory of a soldier. She had once been a tactical medic, trained to save lives where mercy and chaos collided. She had seen things no one should ever see. She had carried her wounded brother through smoke that burned her lungs raw. And when he didn't make it home, she folded his flag herself. After that, Maria swore never to touch violence again. She traded the sound of gunfire for the whisper of clean sheets and polished floors, but that morning, the war she left behind found her again. "Mr. Arlen," said the tallest of the men, his tone polite, almost rehearsed. "It's time you signed the contract." The billionaire's jaw tightened. "This isn't how business works." "Oh, it is today," the man replied. One of the others pulled out his phone. Scrolling through a series of images, private photos, leverage, blackmail. The guests nearby averted their eyes. The staff disappeared behind service doors. Maria's pulse quickened. Her instincts screamed at her to stay out of it. But the tremor in Mr. Arlen's hand, she had seen that before in soldiers trying to hide fear behind control land. She couldn't ignore it. Maria set down her tray and took a slow breath. The smell of fresh coffee and polished brass filled the air. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the glass column beside her, a small figure against giants. Her heart raced, but her body was calm. Years of discipline took over. She adjusted her gloves, stepped forward, and said softly, "Excuse me, sir, you dropped this." The nearest man turned toward her, annoyed. "Back off, lady," he didn't finish. In one motion, swift, fluid. Silent Maria twisted his wrist and pivoted her weight, sending him stumbling sideways. The tray in her other hand deflected the arm of another man who lunged to grab her. A sharp metallic clang rang through the lobby. Guests gasped. A champagne glass shattered, but Maria was already moving. One step forward, low stance, eyes locked, controlled. She wasn't attacking, she was neutralizing. Every motion deliberate, meant to end the threat without lasting harm. Years of tactical training hidden beneath a maid's uniform. For a moment, no one moved. The men stared at her, stunned. This wasn't part of their plan. The leader tried to recover his composure. "Who are you?" he demanded. Maria's voice was steady. "Someone who's done this before." That single sentence sliced through the air. The others hesitated. They could feel that this wasn't a bluff. Her posture, her eyes, the way she positioned her feet, it all screamed experience. Mr. Arlen stood a few feet away, his gaze fixed on her. He'd met countless people who acted tough, but this woman radiated quiet power. The kind that comes from surviving what others see? Home security finally rushed in too late, but loud enough to draw a crowd. The 5 men tried to back away, but Maria's calm instructions guided the guards toward them with military precision. "To buy the exit," she said softly. "Don't let them split." The guards followed instinctively, obeying without question. In less than a minute, the men were cornered again, this time by justice. The billionaire exhaled slowly, his voice filled with disbelief. "You just saved my life." Maria looked down, adjusting her sleeves. "I just did my job." Those words, humble, unshaken, spread across the room like a quiet echo. People who had stayed silent moments ago now stared with awe. Some even clapped, not out of excitement, but out of respect. She didn't smile. She simply walked away, disappearing into the service corridor as the police entered the lobby. When the investigation unfolded, the truth about Maria emerged. Reporters learned she had served as a tactical medic in one of the most dangerous rescue units overseas. She'd been awarded honors for saving lives under enemy fire, stories she'd never told, not even to her coworkers. When asked why she never mentioned it, she said simply, "Some medals are better left in boxes. I didn't come here to be noticed. I came here to find peace." Her words hit deeper than any headline. In a world that celebrates noise, her silence spoke volumes. Mr. Arlen, once a man of immense pride and power, found himself humbled. The billion-dollar deals, the private jets, the meetings with world leaders all meant nothing compared to the quiet courage of a woman, earning minimum wage, who risked everything without hesitation. He later visited her in the staff lounge. No cameras, no press, just gratitude. "I owe you my life," he said. Maria looked up from her cup of tea. "Then live it well, sir. That's how you repay me." Those words would later go viral, printed on posters, quoted in articles, turned into speeches about humility and unseen heroes. "Then live it well." It became more than a line. It became a message. A month later, Mr. Arlen launched a scholarship fund in her brother's name for veterans who wanted to start new lives after service. Maria tried to refuse the attention, but he insisted it wasn't for her. It was for every quiet hero who never got to be seen. On the day of the announcement, the same hotel lobby was filled again, but this time with applause, cameras, and pride. Maria stood at the edge of the crowd, hands folded, as her brother's name appeared in gold letters on the plaque. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her silence said everything. That night, as the sun sank beyond the skyline, Maria walked the empty halls of the hotel, wiping the last fingerprints from the glass doors. Outside, the world still spun in chaos, businesses rising and falling, people chasing power and fame, but inside her chest was peace, because she knew what so many had forgotten. True power doesn't need to be loud. True courage doesn't need applause sometimes. It just wears a maid's uniform and keeps working in a single moment of courage. Maria reminded the world that dignity isn't measured by status, but by action. She taught that kindness can be fierce, and that silence can protect more lives than words ever could. Heroes don't always wear medals. Some just wear name tags. If this story moved you, share it with someone who believes in silent strength. Comment where you're watching from. And remember, respect the quiet ones. They're the ones who rise when others look away.